If there's one issue that men in particular really grapple with, it is sexual neediness. That sense that you will just do pretty much anything to get sex. A lot of men have learned to completely change their whole personality simply to create some kind of front that they think will manage to get them sexual attention. A lot of guys also drink way more alcohol than they know they should because it loosens them up and they feel like now I'm sufficiently confident for a little while just to approach women. And when as guys we look at these behaviours from above, we don't agree with them, but we're so caught up in sexual neediness, we'll do pretty much anything just to try and get sex. I have myself many decades of experience with all these behaviours, and I can see how much I allowed myself to be diverted from who I really want to be because my development was hijacked by this neediness. So why then does this come about? Well, so many of us were brought up in a culture where our bond with the mother was not adequately secure in the first year of life. We didn't get the physical connection, we didn't get the emotional connection that our brains, our DNA had conditioned us to expect. And from that experience, what develops is a huge inner neediness. This sense that no matter how much we get, it's never really going to fill us. This is called oral behavior or oral character structure in Reichian characterology. And then when our hormones kick in the teenage years, this just goes into complete overdrive and is also projected onto potential sexual partners. And so by the age of 18 or 20, we're just riddled with this sexual neediness and we're dropping all of the kind of roadmaps that we have internally of who we want to be just to try and get sex. And this exercise from the work of Wilhelm Reich, drawn from Reichian breathwork, will help you to feel more sexually self-sufficient, more confident within yourself and with less a huge kind of wounded gap inside that you're trying to fill through these behaviours. Let's take a look. Okay, so I'm just lying down on a yoga mat. You can use a bit of carpet if you don't have a yoga mat. Make sure that your heels are about shoulder width apart and your knees are pointing upwards, but don't hold them rigid. And then what we're going to do on the inhale, we're going to inhale with our belly very rapidly, like flicking our abdomen and particularly our lower abdomen up. So it goes like, hopefully you can see those rapid flicks. They take like less than half a second to flick the belly up. I flick the belly up and then I see if there's any more, holding that belly up, if there's any more that I can balloon my lower abdomen out, and I do that. So it looks like squeezing out there. And then on the exhale, I make an R sound and release my abdomen, squeeze it back in a bit. So altogether it looks like What's important is that I try and keep my throat open so that I can breathe just through this flicking movement and then this relaxed R sound. So the belly comes out and I push a little bit more in the lower abdomen. The air is drawn in if my throat is relaxed because a vacuum is created as my lungs are drawn down. And then as I relax my belly and squeeze it back in a little bit, then the lungs come back up and the air is just naturally pushed out. What's especially powerful about this movement is that when you do it over time, it opens up the psoas muscles and the hip flexors and these wing muscles in the pelvis and starts to create a sense of sexual satisfaction. And if you do it for 5 or 10 minutes daily, then over time you'll find this sense of sexual neediness reduces considerably. Let's just take a look. I'm going to do it for 30 seconds so you have a sense of what it really looks like. Now, if you find yourself running out of breath while you're doing this exercise, it's because you're holding at the throat. So you need to focus a little bit more on the throat, on really relaxing the throat so that it can just be a channel for air to come in. Have your mouth a little bit open when you do the exercise. If you're turned on to this work, then do check out my Reichian Breathwork online course at the link below. Thank you for tuning in and see you again soon.